Welcome. Today we're talking about spheres. We're going to look at finding surface area and volume. First, let's start with surface area. Now, the surface area of a sphere is actually equal to the label area of the cylinder that would fit that sphere snugly inside, meaning that it has the same radius and the same height. Let's look at what would happen if we unwrapped that cylinder and see how big it is. So the height of the sphere is going to equal the length of the rectangle. So we've got one radius up to the top, one radius to the bottom, and that is the height of the rectangle also. We'll call it length, but it's 2 radii, so 2 times r. Then the width of the rectangle is actually the circumference of the sphere. Watch the red dot as it moves around the sphere and also simultaneously down the length of the rectangle. So the circumference is 2 times pi times r. That will also be the width of the rectangle. So to find the area of this rectangle, aka the surface area of the sphere, we're going to multiply these two things together because area of a rectangle is length times width. So we'll fill in our new expressions for length and width. Length was 2 times r, and then width is 2 pi r. And if we simplify this, 2 times 2 is 4, pi we'll just leave as pi, but then there's 2 r's multiplying together, so that would be r squared. So this is our formula for surface area of a sphere. Surface area equals 4 times pi r squared. Let's look at an example. We'll find the surface area of this blue sphere. So again, here's our formula. Surface area equals 4 pi r squared. And the 22 centimeters they give us does go from the center of the sphere out to the outside, so that's our radius. So we'll just plug in the 22 here and we'll start simplifying. 22 squared is 484. We'll multiply that by 4 to get our exact answer, 1,936 pi. But if you need a decimal answer, go to your calculator, multiply by pi, 6,082.123377. Of course, we, through this playlist, have been rounding to the nearest tenth, so we'll round that off. And our unit is centimeters squared because this is a measure of area. So there's our final answer. Now let's look at volume. Remember, volume is the measure of the inside space in your sphere. Now, we're not going to go through a big declaration of why this formula becomes what it is, but here's the formula for volume of a sphere, and I want you to just notice some things. That 4 times pi times r is very similar to the surface area of a sphere formula. And then you see the divide by 3, which we used when we did volume of cones. And then the cubic, we are looking at volume, and volume uses cubic units, so it makes sense that there would be an r cubed instead of an r squared. That's the formula we're going to use. So we're going to go to our next example. We're going to find the volume of the same sphere we used before, our 22 centimeter radius sphere. So again, here's our formula. Volume equals 4 times pi times r cubed, all divided by 3. And our radius is 22, so we'll substitute that in. When we start to simplify this, 22 cubed times 4 gives us 10,648. Now that's not divisible by 3, so if we divided it, we would get a repeating decimal anyway. So if you need an exact answer, this is where you are, 10,648 pi divided by 3. Now, we've been rounding to the nearest tenth, so we'll go ahead and get our decimal answer. We'll do the multiplying by pi and the dividing by 3 to get 11,150.5595, which of course will round to 0.6. And since this is volume, volume is a cubic unit of measure, so it's centimeters cubed. There's our final answer. So in summary, to find the surface area of a sphere, you use the formula 4 times pi r squared. To find the volume of a sphere, though, if you need to fill it or find out how much space it takes up, that would be 4 times pi r cubed divided by 3. And just a reminder, all of these formulas are using r, the radius, so watch out. Sometimes you get examples and problems to solve where they give you the diameter of the circle instead of the radius. So just be aware, radius always equals half of the diameter. So that's all I have for you for spheres today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.